yesterday.
The barriers erected and manned by the Capitol Police were little more than speed bumps to the angry mob.
They had these pathetic little barricades up beforehand, and what they should have done is had much more robust capabilities well in advance of the 6th of January.
Michael Chertoff, head of Homeland Security during the George W. Bush administration, says the Capitol Police bear primary responsibility.
This strikes me as having been a real dereliction by the Capitol Police.
But simple dereliction doesn't explain this statement by D.C. Police Chief Robert Conti.
There was no intelligence that suggested there would be a breach of the U.S. Capitol.
In fact, social media was full of storm the Capitol rhetoric, including a tweet from President Trump predicting it will be wild.
The hoaxes and the lies.
And then there was the rally outside the White House where the president and his ally Rudy Giuliani riled up the crowd.
Let's have trial by combat.
If you read the newspaper, you knew that there was a serious possibility of a threat against the Capitol. Let's go wild. Bring your guns. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that that suggests a serious threat to the integrity of the Capitol.
This was not a failure to connect the dots, but a failure to believe the dots.
Whether they underestimated the threat or believed because they were Trump supporters they weren't going to be a problem, that was a very serious error and can never be allowed to be repeated.
Was this cultural bias? If it's Black Lives Matter, there's a real threat of violence here, but if it's just almost all white Trump supporters, no problem.
Well, certainly that's a legitimate question to ask. They need to ask questions about whether there was conscious or unconscious bias, or even some, political spin for some of the people in the Capitol Police.
Democratic Congressman James Clyburn offered a more sinister explanation.
Somebody on the inside of those buildings were complicit in this.
The need for answers is urgent. There are already social media calls for more attacks surrounding the inauguration. The president is vowing we will not be silenced. And one of his supporters warned, many of us will return on January 19th carrying our weapons.
Buckle up. I'm afraid we're going to see some very scary activity over the next weeks and months.